Hey, y'all, man, we gotta watch this nigga take a shit. Come on.
We caught that nigga on our toilet.
This nigga out there taking.
But that nigga stinking too, cuz. You see the fumes coming through the nigga ass.
That's not funny, bro. Bro. Just get us money. We gotta put this on YouTube, bro. We gotta put it on the internet, man. Bro, comment on this video, man. Comment. I need to hear some comments, man. Hey, fat nigga on the toilet. I need to hear some comments, man. You make me laugh, man. I need. Alright, come on, comment. I want a lot of views on this jump, man. Come on. This is once in a lifetime shit right here.